sure that it's all higher end look to it. Diamond shield's included on all of ours, it's not an option. It's all going to be cut, buffed, and bladed. Okay, so bladed, the easiest way to explain that to a customer is imagine two pieces of paper on top of each other, and then that one piece of paper on the top, which would be your paint, is actually cut on slightly of an angle, so you don't really feel paint lines at all. What's that mean for a customer? It's gonna retain its value a lot better, it's gonna look sharper. We have these drop shadows all by hand. It's just gonna give that higher end appeal. Some of the stuff here that we do that are options, but I'll build them this way always for you guys, is the Alcoa aluminum wheels. Okay, that's a nice feature there. We do aluminum running boards. Almost everyone else does a fiberglass running board. What's nice for the customer with aluminum? You got any debris that comes on up, it's not gonna tear up that fiberglass. Move on down. We still have, and we're the only ones that have side view cameras on a new chassis. Okay, so Mercedes, when they have their new interface, that M-Bucks, which we'll go inside and talk about, it's that screen, it's a 10-inch screen, 10.25 inches. They don't have a way to tie the side view cameras into the actual dash cameras. Only a rear view camera can be applied. So we ended up adding, and you can see up on the top, that quad view camera system. That's always on. It's a display camera. So you're gonna have left, right, rear, and hitch. That's another camera that we added, was the hitch camera, which I think adds a lot of value to that customer. So if you're looking from a safety standpoint, we're the only ones who has this. We do a 20.3 gallon LP tank. So that's the largest. There's only 20.3. There's only one or two other companies that do that large of an LP tank. Tiffin uses a 20.3, and then Sunseeker Forestry uses a 20.3. We also use the Truma AquaGo. So Truma AquaGo is going to be your on-demand tankless water. Opens right up here. One question that I always get is, why is there two on switches? Okay, anyone know that answer? Okay, so before, there didn't used to be a dial on the inside. That dial would control whether it was eco, comfort, or clean mode. It used to be on the outside, so you used to have to go outside and then clip whether it was eco and comfort. Now each one is just on. It doesn't matter. There's a little dial on the inside. So eco is going to basically keep your tank, your freshwater tank, or this tank in here, there's a 1 liter mixing chamber in there from freezing on up. So that's going to keep it right around 46 degrees Fahrenheit. Then the comfort is going to be able to give you 120 degrees Fahrenheit within 3 seconds. Okay, so that's going to be your on-demand, and that's what you want for the inside. So if the customer's not getting that hot water, you need to make sure that it's on comfort, not on eco. It'll eventually get there. If it's on eco, it'll take over 30 seconds to end up heating on up. So from a winterization standpoint, we have a really good YouTube video. I encourage you guys to take a look at our YouTube page. We continually add one about a new video every 2 weeks. So just type in Dynamax Forest River, and it'll come right on up. We had one a while ago on this system of how to use it and how the customer would winterize it. Make sure that the pump's off. You end up pulling this on down, and then it basically will just drain. It's a very easy process. So most of the storage on this floor plan is going to be on the other side. One small box here. We do gray rotocast. Okay, so what are some of the advantages of that for a customer?
It's virgin.
Okay, yep, virgin plastic. We talked about that. So
Washable.
Yep, washable. The other thing too is if you got a black object in there, you can actually see it. That's another nice feature. We've got lights on inside of all of ours, so they will be able to see all of what's inside for your storage. We do the compression latches too, so you know that is actually locked rather than some of those slam back. Question we always get: what's Dynaride? Anybody have that one off the top of their head? What's Dynaride?
It's something with the suspension, obviously.
Yep. So it's our upgraded suspension. We do the Bilstein shocks, front and rear, to help from the up and down movement. We used to, and you can still apply this on the older chassis, we did the Hellwig sway bar, so it was an upgraded sway bar. Now Mercedes put an upgraded sway bar that was the same size as our Hellwig sway bar, so this does not have a Hellwig sway bar on it because it'd be redundant for us to replace the existing one that Mercedes gives us. So that's one change for the new chassis. For the suspension for the Dynamos. But it still is the Bilstein shocks. So they're gas charged shocks that don't wear out over time, and it's going to give you a more comfortable ride. New chassis, we're calling them 2020.5s, just so we're on the same page. So 2020.5 versus a 2020. This back bumper is a little different. Old ISATA 5 back bumper, which we're still making that transition. You'd have to pretty much get that whole fiberglass taken care of. So it's better for that customer that way. Hitch, we put a 5,000 pound hitch on it. It's only 4,200 pounds towing. That's the same for everybody with the Sprinters. One of the things that is often overlooked is slides, but we use Slim Rack exclusively on all of our ISATA products. The reason for that is it's better for bigger, deeper, heavier slides. So when you've got a full wall slide like this, there's gonna be some movement to that slide. So if we had a Schwintek slide, which a lot of my competitors use, that's built actually to the box itself. Okay, so when it's built to the box itself, it doesn't have any of that wiggle room. So this right here, a lot of people, wow, that looks cheap. It's actually their higher end. It's owned by the same company. Lippert owns it. They own most of the component parts that are in the RVs. But this right here has some movement in all four corners of it. They sit on top of these rollers. Okay, and so these are really heavy duty rollers. And what it does is there's 4 different motors in the corners, and then it will adjust itself as it comes back on in. Especially on a big slide like this, it's a must. Now we do have another video on there of what happens if the slide doesn't work. Okay, so what happens if that slide doesn't want to retract or come on in, or it loses its center, we'll call it, and has no idea where the ins and outs are. There's an easy way to be able to train it, retrain it. You just take off the panel on the inside. There's a 5-minute video that'll walk you on through that. So if you have a customer that does have an issue with the slim rack, that can be for any motorhome out here. That's not just for us. Use these videos to help you sell more RVs. That's what we're here for. So that right there, it'll retrain it. I always encourage a customer to make sure that they've got their motor on, okay? Or they're at least plugged in. The reason for that is that those motors, when we do see failures for the motors, because it's trying to crank out too much power and doesn't have the power supply for it. And that's when you really wear that motor out. So it'll even give you a little warning on them now to make sure that your engine's started. But that's a big thing, and that's something I really encourage you. If everything else fails, okay, and so we can't retrain it, the power's not getting it to go, you can actually pop these on off and then slide this in. So where these corners are, and that's a chore, but at least they can get somewhere. Now you also have 1 year of Safe Ride. So Forest River does 1 year of Safe Ride, which is basically your, for lack of better words, AAA for your motorhome. That's included for 1 full year from the date of registration.
What'd you say, Michael?
It's all solid wood. Yep,
Nice.
all the way
Nice
on
new
through.
cabinets.
So really, that's the same stuff we run in ISATA 5 and all of our big trucks. We moved it on over to here because that's the one thing that people would say, well, they're not crazy over the cabinets. Other little aesthetics, like a lid edge. We run this in our Dynaquest XL. That's going to be all the way on through. This is a brand new oven, or the stovetop right here. So it's a little bit lower profile. It gives us an extra drawer. Little things like that we get that feedback from customers that we're like, hey, we need to address that. Let's give them an extra drawer by finding something lower profile. And it looks cool with the blue lights. This has been a really big one for us. So this is the multiplex system Firefly. It's now standard on all of our units. You can use it off your phone, off an iPad, or right here at this interface. What's nice about this will have all your tank levels. Actually has what's called True Tank. So True Tank is, what it does is it uses sonar technology, and it sends out the wave of where exactly. So we'll say my water level's here, and my bottom of my tank's here, and the top's here. Obviously, when we're going down the road, it's going to be bouncing up and down like this. So it sends an average of over 15 seconds. It relays it back to the system, and then gives you a percentage of where we are, rather than the stick-ons that would say you're a third or you're half full. These will actually give you your 55% full. Okay. Once it reads under 10%, then it'll show as a 0. Once it reads over 90%, it'll show as 100% full. Just for your information, that'll show right here on the main screen, up on the top right-hand side. So that'll show it for your LP, that'll show it for your black, your gray, and your freshwater. So that's really nice. The other thing that we were able to do with this system is now we have auto gen start. Before we didn't have the auto generator start, now we do. So there's prompts for this. You can click on that and say, hey, if I want to leave my pet in here and you're out, you forget that your generator was still running for whatever reason, it'll shut it off at 10, or it'll start it up at 6 a.m. or whatever you need to do for that. So that auto gen is awesome, and that's solely because of this new Firefly technology. All right, so nav is built into this. Okay, it'll automatically update. Okay, so it sends it out to the satellite, so automatically updates your nav. One of the cool things this has is, like Siri, this will have, and she's probably going to be listening to me now. It'll have Hey Mercedes. So Hey Mercedes, take me to the nearest Starbucks. It should have. I guess I got to load this up into the Pro, but you can just talk to it. It'll load this on up and actually take you to where your location is. Some of the other really neat features to this, okay, so it's got little paths here on the side that you can just move on through. So right there, left and right, just from your steering wheel, rather than having to use the actual touchscreen. That's a nice thing, as you don't have to take your eyes off the road. So here is this part right over here. So there's a whole bunch of different settings for the vehicle itself. You can press that button; it's all protected on in there. Other things that are really neat, underneath this seat is going to be a safe. So there's going to be a right underneath on the outside part. So ISATA 5 30FW 4x4. We came out with this model about 2 years ago, and it is by far our fastest selling motorhome we've ever created, and it probably will continue that way. Usually it'll get on a lot, sit for about maybe 2 weeks. This is going to be a 6.7 liter Cummins with an ACEN transmission. This new 6.7, so going to be 800 foot-pounds of torque and 360 horse. Okay, this is now standard at the 8,000 watt generator. So before it was an option, it was a 6,000 with the option for the 8. We want 8 all the way across. It's got your equalizer, 4-point leveling jacks, just like we have on the ISATA 3. This hasn't been started in a while. What you'll need to do is actually take the front end of this and push it right onto that. So use that as kind of your finger. Now it's detecting the key. 4-point, or same 4-way camera. This right now has obviously got it right back behind. You can toggle all those cameras here by a simple press of the button.